Hi, we are Laura Gamboa, Edwin Moreno, and Leidy Valencia, and we are going to interview the teacher Marisol Moreno, who teaches at the Faculty of Medicine.
Hello, my name is Marisol Moreno. I am full professor at the School of Medicine at the National University of Colombia. I am a tenured professor and I have been involved since 20, 21 years ago. I belong to the university, I belong to the National University. I am part of the Human Communication Department.
We know that your line of work is public health focused on disability. Why did you choose this line?
I choose to work on disability research because I found out that this area were not enough recognized into the disability studies in Colombia. That's why I decided to work on, because I understand that we have wonderful programs and initiatives and strategies for people with disabilities, but at the end of the day they didn't receive what they need. So it means that policies must to be studied. So as a speech language pathologist, I decide to follow this kind of research, and I become a public health worker, and in this area I select disability studies because these people is the more excluded, the more discriminate people.
Do you think that disability is a problem for the aid of society?
Disability is a very complex concept because it has many components itself. Some of them are more social, some of them are more structural, some of them are more related to biological conditions. So talking about disability from a very social perspective, sometimes it seems that as a problem for society, but it is because society doesn't understand the real meaning of disability.
What research project do you consider to be the most important one in your career, and why?
The most important work that I have done is my doctoral research called Disability Policies and Early Childhood. This document is a contribution to understand how the policies can be developed.
How many times did you need to do your thesis?
The first step was look at the literature, what kind of research, what are the background, what are people saying about this topic. And I have to also find some data, to read a lot of books, to find an hypothesis, to create a research question, sorry. And after that, I do all the scientific process in order to design a project. After the project was approved, I was conducting the research step by step. Everything is in my book. I published the book after the thesis was ready.
Which were your steps to follow to make your research?
The theoretical approach was the theory of justice, of social justice, is based in a very famous researcher. His name is John Rawls. He was the one who find out a way to understand how policies can meet the needs of population. This theory is very famous in the United States and also in Europe. and we use this theoretical approach with some additional authors like Marta Nussbaum and Amartya Sen. So these three researchers were basis for my dissertation. I did a dialogue with these concepts and create an understanding of disability and policies in Colombia.
What was the base theory to make your thesis?
The dissertation wanted to explain to the judge, to the justice system, what can be the best option for meet the needs of children with disabilities. So there are many cases where the judge, the lawyers, I did a focus on dignity in.
What problems did you resolve with this thesis? Was one of these problems part of the university community?
Yes, we took some ideas of this dissertation, and with this idea, we create a program for training teachers that take care of children at the early childhood level. So, one of the dissertation findings were applied to the normative development, and right now there is a law, the number 1804 of 2016, that has some of these recommendations. Inclusion at the early childhood level, and it was one of my dissertation's contributions. That's why I was invited when the law was signed in the president's office, because they acknowledged that my dissertation made some contributions to this law.
What other areas do you consider that can complement the project?
Other areas that can contribute to implement my proposal are health, education, recreation, mobility, accessibility, and social life.
Did the infancy, politics and disabilities have any impact on disability policies?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, these contributions were taken into account in a new law that was signed last year by the President Santos. The new law is about the program of From Zero to Always. Is number 1804, and it has big impact because we recommend to include universal design for learning. We recommend to inclusion from the very early years during early childhood, and many other recommendations for caregivers, stakeholders, families, authorities, health professionals, and some other professionals who participate in the programs related to children with disabilities.
How should public health be for people with disabilities?
A public health has to support the whole needs of people with disabilities, um, to receive health services in order to get a good rehabilitation, to receive a good education based on inclusive education, to have the opportunity to work, to get married, to have a bank account, to do all the things that another person without disability can do. So means that people with disability can have dreams and realize what they want to do or to be.